Welcome back and thanks for listening. This is the Fit Me Daily podcast, hosted by me, Lauren Topper-Reichert. This is episode 10, which means I've been at it for 10 weeks. Well, more than 10 weeks, but you get it. I'm really excited to bring this one to you. Years before my adenomyosis diagnosis, say that 5 times fast, I'm not going to do it, but years before I was even diagnosed and had this interest in learning more about eating for wellness and following a nutrition plan that would make me feel good overall. So in today's episode, I am going to cover how to eat for endo and adenomyosis. And this is not a cure-all. This is not said to alleviate 100% of the symptoms. Again, this is your quick, friendly reminder that I am not a doctor or a licensed medical professional. And if you do have questions about anything that I talk about today or any other concerns about your health, please consult a medical professional. That said, a lot of what I'm going to talk about today is research-backed, or it's advice directly from someone who is a medical professional. So let's get into it. Food is really the best medicine, but for some reason we don't always look at food as medicine. Think about it. If you were to do something every day that made you feel terrible, gave you back pain, or gave you a stomach ache, you probably wouldn't keep doing it. But food, that's an entirely different story. It's too easy to reach for what's easy and convenient. It's too easy to fall into bad habits. Even if it makes us feel terrible, it's just too hard to implement changes. Why do people continue to eat the foods that cause health problems or make them feel terrible? There's no doubt that nutrition directly correlates with quality of life. I'm curious by nature, and I'm always eager to learn more about what I can do to be healthier or feel better. I wanted to explore anti-inflammatory diets and how this way of eating might positively benefit my adenomyosis symptoms. And here's some of what I discovered. So why an anti-inflammatory diet? Experts link inflammation to preventable diseases and gut dysfunction. Chronic inflammation affects the gut and eventually becomes systematic, meaning it can affect nearly every organ in the body. Here's a simple equation. If you want to reduce inflammation, eat fewer inflammatory foods and more anti-inflammatory foods. Make the structure of your diet whole, nutrient foods that contain antioxidants. That means tossing out and saying goodbye to all of those processed products. There are undoubtedly a lot of different factors that ultimately drive inflammation. And guess what? Some of the biggest factors are the food and drinks that we consume every single day, including sugar, alcohol, and caffeine. Sugar is by far the biggest culprit, and sugar can devastate both gut health and overall health. Too much sugar in the diet leads to insulin resistance, which leads to leptin resistance, meaning you're left hungry when you've already had the food that you need for fuel, which ultimately results in weight gain and all three that just increase inflammation. If you're searching for ways to reduce inflammation, begin with sugar and aim for a maximum daily intake of just 25 grams or less of refined sugars. And you could say bye to booze, like right now. Excessive amounts of alcohol can create intestinal inflammation, which can exacerbate alcohol-induced organ damage. Everyone responds to alcohol differently, and keep in mind, sipping your organic red wine is completely different than smashing sugar-rimmed margaritas all weekend. So, that said, experts recommend no more than 1 drink 3 times a week or less to keep inflammation low. Now, what about coffee? There is a lot of conflicting research on whether or not coffee, mainly caffeine, is safe or disruptive to women who have menstrual disorders and frankly, overall health in general. So I'm really not going to get into this one, but here's my quick take. Just consider that caffeine is a stimulant. It's a drug. It's the most widely consumed drug in the world. Experts like integrative nutritionist and hormone expert Alyssa Vitti say to break up with coffee as soon as possible. And on the other end, Dr. Jolene Brighton says, coffee isn't bad for women's hormones. In fact, coffee can help you make better estrogen metabolites. But she does go on to explain that for some women, coffee makes them anxious, disrupts sleep, and overall is not their body's friend. The best way to see what's true for you on either side of the spectrum, like any food, is to cut it out and then reintroduce it to see how it makes you feel. There are a number of foods to avoid if you are thinking about adopting an anti-inflammatory diet. I will run through them. The first is alcohol, obviously. There's soybean and corn oils, processed snacks, as well as processed meats, desserts, sorry about that one, and a big one, trans fats. Research out of Oxford has actually found that there are higher rates of a diagnosis with endo in women who consume more trans fats, which are commonly found in fast food and processed foods. Sugary drinks is another one, and refined carbs. This includes white breads and foods like white pasta. A study published in Europe PMC, including 207 women with endo, showed that 75% of them had a decrease in endo-related pain after eliminating gluten from their diets for 12 months. When it comes to foods to eat, vegetables are a great option. Think fibrous vegetables. These can fight inflammation and pain caused by endo. Fruit, same goes for them. High-fat fruits, healthy fats, fatty fish. Foods rich in essential fatty acids like salmon, herring, and trout can combat endo pain and inflammation too. Almonds and other nuts, bell and chili peppers, dark chocolate, and spices like turmeric and cinnamon. There's also curcumin. It has been linked to endo management, and it's known to suppress the proliferation of endometrial cells. While the research was kind of murky on this one, I did find some information about eating for adenomyosis. So these adenomyosis diets should include berries like raspberries and blueberries, leafy greens such as broccoli and arugula, dark leafy vegetables, omega-3 rich foods like hemp, chia, and flax seeds, as well as millet, sunflower seeds, and beans, which are all rich in vitamin B. These foods are all packed with antioxidants and other anti-inflammatory substances. In addition to an anti-inflammatory diet or gluten-free diet, the low FODMAP diet is also widely recommended for women with endo. The National Institutes of Health conducted a study of people with IBS or IBS and endo and found that a low FODMAP diet improved symptoms in 72% of those who had endo and IBS. In an interview with Harper's Bazaar, Alyssa Vitti, the integrative nutritionist and hormone expert who says to break up with coffee, said, "By addressing the immune system and the hormone system through diet, you could really be symptom-free." Vitti also prescribes a specific diet to her own patients which supports the endocrine system, the glands that regulate hormones. The interview also cites that Vitti believes that endo, adenomyosis, and PCOS, to name a few, can be dieted into remission by eating specific foods while cutting out the foods that create a hormone imbalance. Research around adenomyosis and endometriosis is limited, but when I started seeking answers, I couldn't help but make connections to diet and nutrition. Food really can be the best medicine. Since being diagnosed, I have come across so much contradictory information from medical professionals, holistic experts, doctors, journals, and online resources, and whatever else, which leads me to believe that there's no one single right answer when it comes to treating conditions like adenomyosis or endo. But I do believe that we should all feel empowered to seek out answers and try certain things like implementing an anti-inflammatory diet, because maybe, just maybe, some good can come of it. So maybe cutting out coffee doesn't work for you, but maybe eliminating gluten does. Those are the little wins that I am all about. You can always find more at the Fit Me Daily blog, where I have linked the journals mentioned in this episode and some other resources. You can also find Fit Me Daily on Instagram at Fit Me Daily. This podcast is available on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Please remember to follow, rate and review, leave a comment, and share. The Fit Me Daily podcast is written, produced, and hosted by me, Lauren Toper Reichert, in Phoenix, Arizona. And I will be back next week with another episode.